so this is kind of some of the work that we're doing, but it also involves other people as well. It's not just what we're doing. This is a green-eyed frog, critically endangered again, occurs in Costa Rica. The only place it occurs is in Monteverde, where the golden toad disappeared. We've got permission to go out there. Again, a trek, 2-day trek, through landslides, along a particular ridge. It's very, very difficult to get to, really hard work to get to it, but it only lives in one pond. When we got to the pond, there's actually thousands of these breeding. It was amazing. Just struck it at the right time. And collected a few eggs and actually brought them back to the museum. We developed them into little frogs. And we then asked if anybody would be interested in supporting the project, not just for captive breeding, but mainly to support them in the wild, which is where the effort is now for most of the conservation work that we're doing. So we handed them over to Chester Zoo, who said that they would be pleased to be part of the project and actually support them in the wild. And now because they've got the only frogs, and we've given them all our frogs, they've got the only ones in captivity, they actually help towards the guards in Costa Rica to sample the frogs for this chytrid fungus and take water samples. And so it's not just what we do, it's kind of laying the way for what other people can do as well, which is something that most people don't realise that we're actually involved with. And it's pretty good stuff. I'm going to move pretty quick now because we've only got about 5 minutes to go. But I'd just like to cover one more thing really before I finish. Most of my work's done at night, and you have to be able to listen out for frog calls and know the different types of frogs. In Costa Rica, I probably know about 80%, well, I know about 80 different frog calls, and that's the way we find them at night, because the males call and you're able to identify exactly where they are. But I was out there looking for that particular frog before, the green-eyed frog, and I was out one night and I heard a call of a frog that I didn't even know what it was. I thought maybe it was an insect. And the guy I had with me was a naturalist. He writes books on frogs, and he lives in Costa Rica, and he didn't know what it was. So between the two of us, we decided we were going to find out what it was that night, or bust. So we set off looking for it, and it was in the distance. It took us hours to triangulate. Is it coming from over there? Is it coming from over here? Anyway, we managed to get to the spot, and it was right on the side of a ravine, big drop, river below. We couldn't go any further. And he was saying, I'm sure it's over here. I was like, no, it's over this side. I'm sure it's over here. And I went over to him, and he was like, yeah, actually, it does sound like it's coming from over there. Maybe there's two. And then I said, but they're not calling together, or... And there was a tree between us, and as I looked up, there was this tiny little frog at the top of the tree. So, one way or another, I managed to climb up this tree with my wellies on. It was raining, and this tree was really thin. It's kind of bending all over the place, and he's thinking how is he going to carry me out of there when I fall off from this thing? But I managed to wrap my legs around and just lean over and actually grab hold of this branch that was over this ravine, and the trees like this, and grab hold of this little frog. And when I looked at it, I realised that it was actually a particular species that was thought to be extinct 25 years before. It actually disappeared exactly the same year as the golden toad. So for me, it was better than finding the golden toad, because I'm well into tree frogs and stuff like that. So it was this little frog. So I photographed it for the first time in 25 years, obviously, and I put it back on the same tree the following morning when we left. And we went back the following year, and we did. There's been a bit of publicity and things about this particular frog. It just goes to show that there's still things out there to find, and that some of these frogs are still surviving in some of these areas. And when they went back the following year, rather than bringing the frog back from Costa Rica to Manchester, I actually taught Mark, my friend, who's into bikes and stuff as well. We took him out, and we went to Costa Rica, and we actually took the kits that we use in the physics lab to measure the little frog, and we found the same one the following year. It shows how rare they are. Same male. It wasn't in the same tree, but... So research, apart from all the other ways that we conserve the animals, is extremely important for us. But going right back to the beginning, and to say, like, when I started, I was a little kid and I didn't have a museum to be able to come to and see cool frogs. So for me, one of the most important things really is the education work that we do. And this is something, again, that a lot of people don't realise that we do. This little girl was absolutely petrified. But by the end of it, all the kids in the whole, I did the whole school, local school, and every kid in the assembly wanted to touch the animals. And I think it's a massive, you don't underestimate the kind of the impact that you can have. So yeah, it's hopefully we're making a difference. So I hope you've enjoyed listening to the talk today. And if anybody has got any questions, it'd be an absolute pleasure to hear from you. If you wanted to comment on the talk, you wanted to contact me through maybe the blog, people know that. Frog Blog Manchester is what the museum is adopting. It started off as a personal blog a few years ago, but it seems to be kind of growing in momentum. And the next talk will actually be advertised on there. And also, there's a couple of other things coming up. On there, you'll also find the opportunity to be able to sponsor a frog. So you'll be able to come behind the scenes and actually see and hold the frog that you sponsor, maybe a friend, maybe you want to buy it for Christmas for somebody. Quite a nice little way to contribute to the work that we do as well. And also, well, there's a couple of other different things, but I'm not sure, it's not really aimed at students, but there's going to be a tour to Costa Rica for a small group next year as well, which again will be on the blog. I just want to finish, because I'm on a promise for the time, so I've got to finish in 2 minutes. I just want to show you one frog here that is very kind of special to my heart. Okay, it's called the Splendid Leaf Frog. And it took me 5 years to find the first one, going back to Costa Rica every year. And the year before I found it, I actually heard one calling, and it was all around me. And I'd never, in the end, it was the last night and I couldn't find it. So I had to go back to find it. And I managed to find some eggs. We brought them back. We were the first people in the world to breed the frogs in captivity. But it's an amazing species. And I could probably take you there tonight, because some of the work that we've been doing is to support the work in situ. And although it took me 5 years to find the first one, like I say, I could take you back there tonight and show you one of these for real. Okay, you might want to sponsor one.